Hello, dear viewers. Thank you so much for joining me. I just thought it would be fun to do a little inside Mueller's head kind of reading. You know, what is going on with him? And, oh, goodness gracious, we're all, of course, anxiously awaiting his report, and maybe we'll get some information about that. But I just thought it'd be a great idea to see how he's doing and what's going on. So, Spirit, let us know what you think it would be helpful for us to know. Okay, so for right now, we have the Chariot. Ooh, boy. Okay. The Chariot is sitting right over his current position. So that is quite interesting, isn't it? It's like he may, ooh, big push forward. Well, we're all pulling him forward, are we not? Release the report, release the report. But he's feeling that. He's feeling that, and he's going to have to do one thing or another. He doesn't know. There's a little bit of choice here. It's a little difficult to say which way it's going to go. Does that mean how he will release it? What he puts in the final details? There's still something yet to be decided, but boy, he's got to release it soon. He's feeling that pressure. His outward characteristic, Ace of Pentacles, right? Because we're all looking to him to provide an increased sense of security. We all, so many of us need reassurance that the rule of law still matters, that things still matter, that there is still some protection against corruption, especially against this corrupt president. There's some accountability. There's something that can contain that kind of harmful force, dangerous force. We need that security. So that's what we're looking at him for. Inwardly, though, he is the hermit. And I saw this earlier. He is just isolating himself from all of that. He doesn't want to think about what the voters want. He doesn't want to think about demands placed upon him. In fact, he makes a policy. Gosh, this Robert Mueller, he makes a policy of just not allowing himself to be affected by any pressures at all from anybody, because he knows that compromises the validity of his work. However, I think there have been times when he has had to deal with pressures from some people who are in a position of authority. But the president's not one of those. The president is not one of those. He really believes in the rule of law. He really believes in, sort of obsessively studying it all out, making sure that he's looked at precedent, making sure that he's writing this correctly. He's not overstating anything. He's not understating anything. He's not putting anything in that he would have a hard time supporting in an argument. He is citing things. He doesn't want to be partisan. He wants to really avoid all appearance of being partisan, that's for sure. He is isolating himself. He's the type of guy where he feels like there is a black and white answer to every question. If only you look thoroughly enough and deeply enough, there is an answer to every question. There is a right and there is a wrong. And he just puts a lot of pressure on himself to get the right thing, but he doesn't feel it as pressure because he's a very black and white rules guy. And frankly, he doesn't bother himself with the shades of gray and ambiguity. He really doesn't like that. He doesn't like the shades of gray very much. He wants protection from the shades of gray. So he goes to the rules. He goes to the law. He goes to the... Yeah, and I believe he must have a military background. And I'm pretty sure in his position he would, wouldn't he? I don't know. But there's really that way of thinking. There's really that way of thinking for him. Like, you can find your way to the right decision by going by the law, by doing it very thoroughly and truthfully, and you'll get the right outcome. You just have to push yourself hard enough. There's no excuses. There's no, I can't figure out the right thing to do in Mueller's world. So he is isolating himself from all of the pressures and being the hermit and going by his way of methodically going through all the evidence. Okay. His goal is the Hanged Man. Looking at things from a new perspective. He wants to look at everything from every possible perspective. So he's like almost scientific in the way he does this then. So he's almost like, oh, interesting. He would be one to really try to make sure he adequately entertained each hypothesis. For instance, about the collusion issue. Entertain the notion that there was collusion and there were conversations that the public are not aware of, and so on and so forth. And what would I expect to see then? And do I see that in this and this and this and this? And documenting, and can I document this? Can I document that? And he'd go along that line, but he would just spend just as much time going along the line of, let's start with the assumption that there wasn't collusion and that the president is saying the truth, that he didn't do this and he didn't know that and all that. So let's go along that line and see if we study that out. He is like that. He is very deliberate. And this is almost a spiritual thing for him, I think, where he really does want to get at the truth. And yet it's about the law too. So even if there's a truth out there that he believes is probably out there, but he can't back up with a lot of facts and evidence, he abandons that. So he's definitely an attorney. I mean, this is about what can you argue? What can you prove? This really is. He would not be the type of person who would say, but I just know this happened. So I'm going to angle my argument in a way to demonstrate that. He won't angle an argument. So, okay, so that's him. All right, he's an interesting guy. And then he thinks differently than most people think, but very much a product of his training. He just has stayed more true to a lot of the fundamental principles of his training as an attorney than most do. Okay, then we have the 9 of Swords for the for the motivation. Okay, that's the motivation. Yes. He is thinking to try to look at this from every possible angle and go by his formula for how, which tack to take. Interesting. I got to say this about Robert Mueller, though, too. No human being is perfect. He's very much built for what he does. However, there are certain things then that escape him because he just doesn't deal in that. Some of the complexities, some of the ambiguity, some of the... I don't know how to explain it. It's all about the rules for him. He's very black and white. He really, really is. And he figures he can think it all through with his brain. He really does do his best to divorce himself from his emotions about this and pressures of other people's emotions around this. He's very black and white. And maybe that is exactly how he should be for his position. We have the Knight of Wands. So that's what's at stake. The Knight of Wands. And we keep getting that Knight of Wands. And you guys, I got to tell you, this Knight of Wands, it keeps on whispering to me that there's more to this card that will become clear later, which is not what I like to hear. I want to understand it now. But the Knight of Wands is at stake. So that is a goal. That is a mission. That is partway to maturity. I usually interpret it that way. But there's another interpretation of that. I mean, will he be able to complete the mission? with the original intent and purpose honored. I think that's got to be that. 'Cause see, the Knight of Wands, he hangs on to his purpose. Like, he doesn't look either way. He just hangs on to the purpose, and he goes. That's it. He doesn't really think about the repercussions. He just stays extremely focused and energetic and enthusiastic about that purpose. Now, that's what's at stake. So he must be feeling a lot of pressures. I think he must be feeling a lot of pressures to not stay true to his purpose. And his purpose would be to conduct this investigation and write up the report in the way that he believes is absolutely correct and proper to do based on his training and experience. So he is worrying about that. He is being pressured. Interesting. I think he'll resist, I hope. He does not like that. He wants to insulate himself from all kinds of pressure or expectations. We have the Five of Wands in the flaw or need plan. Okay, yeah, yes. And that's the flaw or the need. Okay, so this is why I'm saying he's not perfect. You know, he's probably ideal for this project. However, no human being is perfect. And if he has a flaw, it is that he doesn't engage in a lot of discourse or debate about it. He does tend to isolate himself and believe that him and his mind alone and his experience and training and any information he can look up, and boy, does he look up information. Whew, that's all these sorts. That's all information and everything. So he believes that that is where the answer lies, where he could perhaps open himself up to some healthy debate about that and benefit from that. He thinks it's impossible for him to have a blind spot. I don't think it is impossible for him to. Okay, so the source of that need or flaw is the King of Swords. He's the investigator. And that King of Swords, he has also been sort of a symbol for this demand for truth, this investigation, this looking for truth. Yeah, he's got quite a responsibility. He really could open himself up to some healthy debate about these things. And that might help him, but that's not how he likes to do things. So the effect this need or flaw has upon his desire to see things from another perspective is temperance. So he does indeed, you know what I think he does? I think he tries to find different perspectives on the data, on the information, on the report writing, by looking at precedent. I think he prefers to look at precedent and what people have thought and done in the past than talk to contemporaries. It's that because he wants to insulate himself from pressure regarding this particular investigation's findings. I think that's, so he still finds a way. He still finds a way to get around that need to look at other people's perspectives. He just looks at dead people's perspectives or people in old cases or precedent. He does that. Okay, well, that's something. That is something. Okay, so let us look at past, present, and future for him. Past is the Five of Swords. Yeah, he cut away. He has had to say this investigation is going to go on. It's going to go on in a nonpartisan way. I'm looking at just the facts, and he is willing to cut away anybody who is not okay with that. That's true. The future. He's looking back. We have the Six of Cups. So he's taking a broad view of the entire investigation. He's looking back. That's part of him looking at things from another perspective and delaying and making sure that he hasn't missed anything, or making sure that he hasn't been in this too much to the point where there's something he should see with fresh eyes. You know what I mean? So he knows, actually, he really does know a lot about the pitfalls investigators can get tripped up on, and he knows about them from his own experience. He's very honest with himself, and he has learned some techniques to try to avoid that. Okay, he wants to avoid groupthink for sure. He wants to avoid getting so close to the investigation he can't see it any other way. He wants to avoid he definitely wants to avoid all pressures and emotions about it. So I'm kind of wondering how he's doing emotionally. And look at, is there anything about emotions here? No. This Temperance angel, we have cups there. That's the only place we have cups, and that's controlled and that's logical and that's temperate and deliberate. So he'll let a little emotion, maybe, but it's gonna be well controlled. Okay, so I almost hear him like the emotion is the enemy of an objective assessment. You know, I almost hear that. Okay, so let us see about this take no prisoners. Yeah, because 9 of Swords. It's made him worry, though. Okay, he may have made decisions and said, I don't care what you think about it. I don't care what you think about it. But some of these are former colleagues. They're people who are important to him. And so it's been worrisome for him to be that tough. And the Chariot. 6 of Coins with the Chariot. I feel like that's about information. I feel like that's about, is he going to give a little bit of information to all of us lowly citizens who just really need some information? Or is he going to give a lot more? I think it's kind of, he's trying to balance the scales there about, you know, rights that have been violated. Okay, and we have the King of Cups. So he is taking a broad base in the future here, the immediate future. He's taking a broad look, and he is taking a look at involvement with Putin then. He is. Okay. Well, that's really interesting. Is he seeing involvement with Putin? Is he seeing? See, you know, everybody wants to know, is he going to have anything about conspiracy against the U.S. or anything about collusion with Russia? It wouldn't be in those words because apparently those are not legal terms. But is there going to be any implication in that for Trump? He's looking out across the sea, the World Explorer. This is the World Explorer card, but there also has a lot to do with commerce here because we know many of the World Explorers were funded regarding trade routes, right? So he is looking at the money, and he is looking at money overseas with Trump. He really is. So I feel like anything that comes about regarding Russia is going to be about the money that was exchanged or pursued or received. Okay, well, that's interesting. I don't know if it'll be collusion about how to win the election, about we're going to get Donald Trump to win the election. Will it be that? I don't know about that. I don't know. We get the 6 of Wands. We get the victory card. I don't know about that. I do feel like Mueller would consider what's best for the stability of the country, though. I do. But I think there'd be legal precedent allowing him to do that. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't want to, he's not going to fold to other pressures, but that he would consider because there's legal precedent to consider that. So I do wonder if he just maybe wants to avoid challenging the notion that Trump was legitimately elected. I do wonder if he wants to avoid doing that for the stability of the nation. He's not going to comment on things that are beyond him. And he's trying not to think about how people will, he is thinking about it though, how people will take his results in the next steps they will take with it. But okay, so he's trying to do his job. I think he's going to do a good job. He's trying to be very focused on exactly what is his job. That's maybe what this is. What's his job and what's not, you know? So there we go. There we go. And that's why he has farmed out a lot of investigations to other districts, because he is very clear he wants to stay true to his purpose and not look to the left or to the right, but go ahead. All right. Well, that is helpful, I think. Thank you all so very much. Bye-bye.